Today's lesson is a useful but problematic gas. Hi, everybody. My name is Roger.
And my name is Helen.
And today we're going to be talking about a gas that is useful. We can talk about all sorts of different kinds of gas in the world. Gas that you put in your car, which of course is short for gasoline, but technically it's not a gas. A gas is one of the three forms of matter, right, Helen?
That's right. There's gas, there's liquid, and there are solids like minerals. And we're going to be talking about a useful gas today, but it's also a problematic gas. A problematic gas is a gas that causes problems or that involves problems. So even though this gas is very useful, we can use it to cook, to make our houses and workplaces warm, but it does come along with some problems.
It does. So yeah, a lot of things in life are useful and harmful at the same time. So today we're going to talk about a problematic gas. Can you guess which one it is? Well, you're going to have to listen to find out.
A useful but problematic gas. You may have heard the English expression, "Now we're cooking with gas," meaning we're making good progress. The phrase was coined in the 1930s as a slogan for the American natural gas industry, with the aim of persuading people to transition from wood-burning stoves to gas-burning ones instead of electric ones. The slogan was not misleading. Natural gas, which consists primarily of methane, is indeed a powerful and efficient fuel.
大家好，第一部分我们看到名词 slogan 表示口号或是标语。例如 Most companies will try to come up with a catchy word or phrase to use as their slogan. 大多数的公司会想出一个好记的字或词作为口号。或是 In the meeting, everyone gave ideas for what the company's new slogan should be. 在会议中，每个人都对公司的新口号应该用什么提供想法。接着我们看到片语 consist of， 意思是由点点点组成、构成或是包含。例如 My band consists of a keyboard player, a drummer, and a singer. 我的乐团是由一名键盘手、一名鼓手和一名主唱所组成的。或是 This soup consists of chicken broth, rice, a little bit of cream, and different spices. 这道汤里含有鸡高汤、米饭、少许奶油以及数种不同香料。另外补充两个同义片语，第一个是 be made up of, made, M-A-D-E, be made up of, 指有点点点组成、构成或是包含。我们可以说 The crew on the boat was made up of experienced sailors. 那艘船上的船员是由经验丰富的水手组成的。或是The story is made up of various events from the writer's childhood. 这个故事是由作者童年的几个不同事件所构成。第二个是 be composed of. Composed, C-O-M-P-O-S-E-D, be composed of. 同样是指由点点点组成、构成或是包含。举例来说 The committee is composed of 3 high school teachers and 2 university professors. 这个委员会是由3名高中老师和2名大学教授所组成。
And welcome back to today's lesson, which is called A Useful but Problematic Gas. And diving right into the first sentence, it says here, you may have heard the English expression, now we're cooking with gas, meaning we're making good progress. This indeed is a common phrase in English, this phrase, now we're cooking with gas. And it does mean when something happens that makes something else happen more quickly, or when you're making progress in a particular field. The phrase was coined in the 1930s as a slogan for the American natural gas industry with the aim of persuading people to transition from wood-burning stoves to gas-burning ones instead of electric electric ones. So in the early 20th century, people were using wood-burning stoves that burned wood to create fire. So back then, they wanted to transition from this type of stove. To transition means to change from one situation to another or to change from one form to another. And this change usually happens slowly, or it takes a little bit of time. It doesn't happen from one day to the next. So for instance, a student, a college graduate might transition from being a student to being an employee, and this transition might be somewhat difficult for the person. So this is an example of a transition. Here, we're talking about the transition from using wood-burning stoves to gas-burning ones. And there were actually two choices. Transitioning from wood-burning stoves, they could also have used electric ones, but the choice was to use gas-burning stoves. That was the better choice, and there are specific reasons for this.
So nowadays, most people do use gas-burning stoves, although I do remember when renting apartments when I went to university, some of the stoves that they had were electric ones, which are kind of difficult to cook with, and they are almost impossible to use when cooking Chinese food because you do need the big flame when cooking with. So electric stoves are kind of difficult to use. So, of course, back then in the 1930s, they had this phrase that was coined to persuade people, to get people to transition, to change from using those wood-burning stoves to gas-burning ones. Here, ones is referring to stoves because we mentioned the word stoves earlier in the sentence, so we can just use the word ones here to substitute for the word stoves. And earlier in the sentence, we have the word coin, and coin is usually a piece of metal that you use to pay for things. 1 NT dollars, 5, 10, 50. Those are the coins here in Taiwan. But here the word coin is being used as a verb, and it usually is used to refer to making new language. When somebody comes up with a new phrase, we say they coined a phrase.
Yes, and here a slogan was coined. A slogan is a short and easy to remember phrase that is used to advertise something or to express a particular belief. It could be a political belief. And since the people back then thought, well, maybe citizens won't want to transition from their wood-burning stoves. They might be suspicious of gas-burning ones, or they're reluctant to do it. A good way to convince people to do something or to believe in something is to come up with a slogan, a catchy phrase. So they came up with the phrase, now we're cooking with gas. And slowly people got that phrase into their heads, and they realized that it was actually a sign of progress to begin using gas-burning stoves, and eventually they accepted this transition, this change.
Yep, so most people use gas stoves nowadays instead of electric ones and instead of wood-burning stoves. But in any case, let's go on and talk about this particular slogan. Now we're cooking with gas. The slogan was not misleading. Natural gas, which consists primarily of methane, is indeed a powerful and efficient fuel. So, indeed, the slogan was kind of true. It was not misleading. If something's misleading, it sounds like it's true, but maybe it really isn't, and maybe it's causing you to believe something that is true.
That's right. So, for instance, a politician might say something that isn't really a lie, but it could be misleading, which means that it leads people to believe something else, something that isn't true. So even though the politician didn't say something that wasn't true, it was misleading. It can cause people to think the wrong things. And here, the slogan isn't misleading because the slogan does indicate that gas-burning stoves are a sign of progress. And since gas-burning stoves use natural gas, which consists primarily of methane, and methane is a powerful fuel, it is a sign of progress. So here we have the phrase consist of. To consist of means to be made of something, a particular part or a particular thing. So I could say, for instance, that this cake or this particular dish consists of the following ingredients: flour, eggs, oil, and so on.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the first part of our lesson for today. Let's continue to talk about methane in the next part.
Created beneath the Earth's surface over millions of years, natural gas is highly flammable. burning with great heat and producing more energy per unit of weight than either oil or coal. And although burning natural gas does produce carbon dioxide, it doesn't produce nearly as much as other fossil fuels do when they are burned. Nor does it produce pollutants that contribute to foul air. In fact, it is the cleanest burning fossil fuel on Earth.
第二部分我们看到单字 flammable， 这个字是形容词，指易燃的或是可燃的。举例来说 Be careful, this mixture is highly flammable. 小心，这种混合物极为易燃。或者 This liquid is very flammable, so it shouldn't be used near an open flame. 这液体非常容易燃烧，所以绝对不能在明火附近使用。另外补充这个字的名词 flame, F-L-A-M-E, flame, 意思是火焰。像是 The flames grew larger as the fire started to get out of control. 火势开始无法控制时，火焰越来越高。或是 The flames of the fire warmed the room, so we didn't have to wear our sweaters indoors. 壁炉里的火焰温暖了房间，所以我们在室内不用穿毛衣。最后我们看到名词 pollutant, 指污染物。举例来说 People who live near the factory have to breathe in all of the pollutants that come from it. 住在这个工厂附近的居民不得不吸入所有从工厂排出来的污染物。再补充这个字的同义名词 contamination, C-O-N-T-A-M-I-N-A-T-I-O-N, contamination, 指污染。我们可以说 The factory had to be shut down due to toxic radioactive contamination. 由于有毒的放射性污染，导致这间工厂必须关闭。或是 Groundwater contamination occurs when man-made products like gasoline or chemicals seep into the water supply. 当人工制品如汽油或化学物质渗入供水系统，就会造成地下水污染。
So now let's take a closer look at methane. Methane, created beneath the Earth's surface over millions of years, is a natural gas that is highly flammable, burning with great heat and producing more energy per unit of weight than either oil or coal. So first of all, methane is created beneath the Earth's surface, and it was created or has been created over millions of years, and it's also highly flammable, which means that it can be burned quickly and easily. It produces great heat, and it produces a lot of energy, more energy per unit of weight than either oil or coal. And oil or coal are also other sources of energy that we use to cook with or to keep factories running. So in some ways, methane is a lot more efficient than these other sources of fuel.
Yeah, we could say that using natural gas is more fuel efficient than using oil or coal. Oil here, of course, is referring to petroleum. So indeed, that's probably the reason why natural gas is so popular, because it contains a lot of energy. And if you compare it in terms of weight, not volume, but weight, it actually produces more energy than oil or coal. And of course, those two kinds of energy there produce a lot of pollution. But in any case, the next sentence says, and although burning natural gas does produce carbon dioxide, it doesn't produce nearly as much as other fossil fuels do when they are burned. So, of course, carbon dioxide is the big bad boy of the atmosphere of the planet. Whenever you hear carbon dioxide, you go, oh no, it's heating up the atmosphere and we're all going to burn to death someday. But indeed, we would be worried about carbon dioxide if we knew that natural gas does produce carbon dioxide. But the bright side is that it doesn't produce nearly as much as other fossil fuels do. Fossil fuels, of course, are fuels like oil and coal because they come from fossils. They've been buried in the ground for millions of years.
Yep, fossil fuels come from animals or plants that lived thousands of years ago and have decayed. So they have broken down in the earth, and as a result, they have turned into coal or oil, which are collectively known as fossil fuels, nor does it produce pollutants that contribute to foul air. So again, we're talking about natural gas. Natural gas, compared to either coal or oil, does not produce pollutants. Pollutants are things that pollute the environment. So anything that pollutes the environment can be called a pollutant. And the natural gas does not produce pollutants that contribute to foul air. Foul means unpleasant, dirty, smelly. So when air is polluted by factories, by factory emissions, it can smell bad, it can look bad because it's gray and it's foggy. So foul here is a negative word. I could also say, for instance, there is a foul smell coming from the garbage can, so we'd better take out the garbage.
Indeed. So, yeah, if someone hasn't washed the restroom in several months, it will be quite foul in there, and someone should go in there and clean it. In fact, it's the cleanest burning fossil fuel on Earth. So, again, it does produce carbon dioxide, but not as much as oil or coal does. So, therefore, it doesn't really make a lot of air pollution, and it doesn't make the air foul. And so people consider it the cleanest burning fossil fuel on Earth. So what's the problem? Let's find out in the next paragraph and find out what that problem is, or what makes this gas so problematic.
As a result, natural gas is perfect for cooking, heating people's homes, powering heavy machinery in factories, and generating electricity. And it has other uses too. Natural gas is used to make a number of products, including clothing, plastics, antifreeze, and fertilizer. For all of its numerous benefits, however, natural gas does have one rather serious drawback.
So we have been praising natural gas. We have been talking about all of the ways that natural gas is a better fuel than other things that we have been using as fuel, such as coal or oil. So as a result, natural gas is perfect for cooking, heating people's homes, powering heavy machinery in factories, and generating electricity. So natural gas is used in the home for heating the environment, for cooking, also for powering heavy machinery in factories. Here, the word machinery is just another way of saying machines. It's a collective word to refer to many pieces or many machines that may be used in a particular place, such as a factory or a warehouse. We can talk about industrial machinery that is used to make a number of things, sneakers, microwave ovens, whatever. So machinery means machines, and natural gas is used for generating electricity.
Yep, a machine, of course, is an individual unit, but then all of these different machines working together as a system would be referred to as machinery. So yes, natural gas is useful. You can use it for cooking, you can heat your house with it, and you can run those heavy machines in factories, and then you can generate electricity as well. And it has other uses too. Natural gas is used to make a number of products, including clothing, plastics, antifreeze, and fertilizer. Antifreeze is probably not so common here in Taiwan, but where I'm from, of course, it gets very cold in the winter, and you've got water in your radiator. So if you don't have antifreeze in there, the water might freeze. So you got to be careful. You've got to add some antifreeze in there. Notice I said that two ways there, antifreeze or antifreeze. Both pronunciations are acceptable.
Yes, and natural gas can also be used to make fertilizer. Fertilizer or a fertilizer is a natural or a chemical substance that you add to soil in order to help plants grow. So natural fertilizer might include the poop, the waste of animals like cows and chicken. And chemical fertilizers are made by humans, so they may not be as good when you're growing fruits and vegetables that are meant for human consumption.
Yeah, guano is a great fertilizer. That, of course, is bat poop or poop from birds. And that, of course, can be used as a great fertilizer as well. Although I think we use other kinds of fertilizers based on nitrogen or something like that. But in any case, yeah, we seem to be talking about all the great things that natural gas has to offer. How could it be problematic? So here's our final sentence. It says, for all of its numerous benefits, even though it has all these numerous benefits, natural gas does have one rather serious drawback, however. A drawback, of course, is a flaw. Sometimes things are too good to be true. Yes, it's a great offer, but the drawback is, etc., etc. You've got to make a payment every month for 50 years or something like that. That could be a drawback or a flaw or the dark side of something.
Right, or you could say the drawback of this job is that you may be asked to travel occasionally. So even though it's a high-paying job and it's a nice working environment with great colleagues, you might have to travel on weekends. And if that's something that you don't want to do, then you would consider this a drawback.
Well, we're not going to spill the beans. We're not going to let the cat out of the bag today. You're going to have to tune in next time to find out what the problem is with methane and what the problem is with natural gas. So please join us then. But right now, we're going to listen to our Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第一部分提到Now we're cooking with gas 这个用语呢是创于1930年代，来当作美国天然气产业的口号。那课文写说这个口号并没有误导。好，文中是用到 mislead 这个字的现在分词 misleading 来形容误导的。那么 mislead 它是由字首 mis 表示错误的，然后再加上字根 lead 表示带领引导，把它合在一起 mislead 就表示误导或是使什么产生错误想法。那我们也来顺便学习一下 mis 这个字首。好，它可以表达不好、错误、缺乏等等，就是带有那种否定、不适宜的意思。好，那这个字首跟动词结合的时候呢，三态变化会跟它原本结合的那个动词是相同的。像 lead 的三态是 lead, led, led， 加上字首 mis 之后呢，三态就是 mislead, misled, misled。 好，那我们以下补充几个具有带有这个字首的单字咯。第一个是 misunderstand， miss 是错误， understand 是了解理解，合在一起 misunderstand 就是误解误会的意思。第二个补充 misquote， miss 是错误的不当的，那么 quote Q-U-O-T-E 它表示引用引述，所以合在一起 misquote 就有错误引用的意思咯。那么第三个 misuse， miss 是不当， use 是使用，所以合在一起就是误用使用不当的意思咯。那么第四个补充 misbehave， miss 是不当，那么 behave 是表现，所以合在一起就有表现不当啊，行为不端或者是举止失礼的意思。还有 mishandle， miss 是不好不当，那么 handle 是处理，合在一起就是对什么处理不当处置不当的意思了。还有 mistrust， 我们说 miss 是缺乏的意思，那么 trust 是信任，缺乏信任那就可以想到 mistrust 它有猜疑不信任的意思了。好，那么课文第二部分它提到，尽管燃烧天然气确实会产生二氧化碳，但是产生的量却没有其他化石燃料燃烧时多，它也不会产生导致浊气的污染物。好，文中是用到 nor does it produce 点点点来表达它也不会产生点点点。我们来学习这样的用法， nor 和 neither 或念neither 它可以接在否定句之后去表达什么什么也不会，什么什么也不是。那么用 nor 或是 neither 开头的句子呢，我们要记得必须将助动词或是 be 动词移到主词前面来形成倒装，就会写作 nor 或是 neither 加助动词加主词点点点，或者是 nor 或 neither 加上 be 动词加主词点点点。好，例如 Nick is not the best player on his team,Nor is he the worst. Nick 不是队上最优秀的球员，他也不是最差的，他也不是，我们就用 nor is he 点点点来表达。好，再看个例句 Karen didn't call me, neither did she text me. Karen 没有打电话给我，她也没有传讯息给我，所以我们这边用 neither did she 来表达她也没有做某件事的意思。好，那么另外呢，我们也可以用这样的句型去表达否定附和，去表达说自己跟对方的情形一样。假设朋友说 I haven't been to Iceland， 我没有去过冰岛，那如果你也没去过，你就可以回答说Neither have I 或者是 Nor have I， 就是说我也没去过。好，那么以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Slogan. Marty came up with a clever advertising slogan to sell milk. Transition. After Francisco Franco died in 1975, Spain transitioned into a democracy. Mislead.Some of the information in that article was misleading. Foul. After waking up with a foul taste in his mouth, Stephen immediately brushed his teeth. Machinery. Many farmers lack the machinery needed to efficiently harvest their crops. Drawback. The main drawback of this smartphone is its short battery life.
Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you enjoyed reading along with us. I am Roger.
I'm Helen.
See you next time.